Welcome, finally, to the 20th Annual SF Sketchfest, the San Francisco Comedy Festival. For tickets and show schedules, visit us at sfsketchfest.com and follow us on social media for festival news and updates. Please take a moment to locate the nearest emergency exit, and please silence your cell phones and refrain from texting during the performance. Video and photography are strictly prohibited. Enjoy the show!
Grogu's and Gra-Gras, please welcome to the stage, Watto!
Well, no, don't sit down so quickly. Come on, we were just getting somewhere good here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the George Lucas Talk Show. Who here has ever been to SF Sketchfest before? Okay. Who here is a San Francisco, or let's extend it to Bay Area native? Great. Now, who here has ever been to a live taping of the George Lucas Talk Show before? Okay, smaller percentage. And then here's the toughest question. Who here has ever been to see the George Lucas Talk Show at SF Sketchfest before? Great. We have 0 liars in the audience tonight. Welcome to the 2021 George Lucas Talk Show. Want to make it very clear, our show scheduled at this same venue, this same night of the week 1 year ago was not canceled. It was never canceled. It was postponed 1 year. What you are about to see tonight is a show we had perfectly crafted 1 year ago. And like Top Gun Maverick, it's hurt us to sit on it. Oh, audiences are going to love this. It's going to bring comedy back. But we said we have to wait until it's safe again. Anything that feels like a mistake or us pulling stuff out of our ass, not true. Perfectly honed, tight as a drum. Is this going to be the best comedy show you've ever seen in your life? Yes! Bet on it. So let's do a little test here, okay? What do you do if something really funny happens? Now, I didn't like the hesitancy. It might not have felt like that much time to you, but I swear, for the people on stage making the joke, an eternity. 5 seconds of silence, enough time to seriously contemplate suicide. So let's try that again. What do you do if something, and no one jumped the gun? Because if you laugh before the cue, we think we have messed up. Did we fart? Okay, let's ready, everyone? What do you do if something really funny? Don't! One strike, my friend. What do you do if something really funny happens? Perfect. Now, what do you do if something really makes you think? Okay, you don't need to verbalize it, but I like it. It gives us an indication. We're on a journey together. What if something very sad happens? Perfect, realistic, rings true. That won't happen at Sketchfest. This is, as I said, going to be the funniest show anyone has ever done. And with that, and everyone perfectly warmed up, I think let's start the fucking show, right?
retired filmmaker George Lucas.
George, you missed one right here.
Hello, I'm George Lucas, creator of Star Wars.
And I am Whitta, announcer slash warm-up comic slash sidekick slash flying space Jew.
Welcome to Sketchfest. Normally this is a talk show, but this is our first comedy festival. So we're going to go all out and be really funny tonight.
Comedy is usually an element of this show, not the only ingredient.
It's always the sauce,
It's always
never
the
the
sauce.
main meal.
Today it's the protein, it's the base, it's the garnish, it's the utensils,
Absolutely.
it's the napkin.
Absolutely. And speaking of utensils, let's give it all up for the Mickey knife. A member of the audience was kind enough to provide me with one of these early cuts of Star Wars that we got out into the world.
The momentum you maintained from the running, the high-fiving straight to the destruction of the VHS tape was incredible.
Now, I have to say,
Yes.
in order to make sure that these early cuts, because this is work product and it needs to be returned, we sold a lot of this out in the world. But you know, we may right up at the top go ahead and introduce a new blockbuster character in the show.
This early?
This early. 'Cause
You
it's-
told me you had one and you said, make sure I don't forget, but I might take a while to introduce. But the moment has caught you.
Yes, because, you know, Mickey Knife has to do so much hard work in destroying these early cuts.
I don't know this character. This
Yes.
is where I'm as engaged and curious as all of you right
See,
now.
Mickey Knife is a blunt instrument, you know?
Yes.
He doesn't have a friend in the world.
Doesn't have a, well, he also tends to murder our friends.
Yes, that's true. That's
Yes,
true.
That might be the problem.
Now, this is a friend, because obviously Mickey has a connection to Star Wars in that he's now part owner of the entire Star Wars franchise. Is part owned, yes?
Part
with
owner, you think him and Minnie? Who is the other owner?
Minnie and Goofy and Donald and the
All
whole,
of them
yeah,
have
they
a
all
stake?
They all have a piece of it.
Wow.
But
The Fab Five. Are you ending it at the Fab Five, or does Horse Collar have a piece?
Horace has a little piece. He still has his like 0.5%. Clarabelle Cow. I mean, we could go on. But here's the thing. This friend is very small, but very powerful. And there is a double connection that I won't need to spell out here.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you the Regarding Henry box cutter. This is a Regarding Henry mini box cutter. That is a real blade.
Now, you were not kidding about how small the blade is.
The blade is small but sharp. Now, it's been a while since I've seen the film Regarding Henry.
Yes.
I know that Ritz crackers play a part.
Sure.
Does anyone remember a scene involving a box cutter?
Well, George, it makes sense because Henry forgot most of his life, right? He barely remembers who he is, his family. He certainly wouldn't remember how to open a box. Any utensil to speed up that process is going to help him in his recovery.
And just so you know, this was transported to me by someone who got it right through TSA. Not a peep.
Should we mention?
My guy, I said, "You gonna fly commercial with that?" He said, "No problem." They didn't even open the bag.
Should we mention, and this is a true story while we're on the subject,
Yes.
Watto flies often, but often he flies on his own accord.
That's right, because you have wings and the power of flight.
I decided to fly commercial because, arthritis and such. They're making bones. And I got to the airport, and Watto immediately realized he had no photo identification on his person. And Watto talked his way through TSA. This is true.
Good job, Watto.
Which is more damning of the TSA as an institution? That Watto was allowed on a plane, and for those trying to imagine this, dressed exactly like this. Or that the regarding Henry box cutter was not picked up on the scanner.
I mean, it's a tiny box cutter, but I think this could do the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was an exchange, so they had to do more thorough secondary security checks.
And we'll get to the show in just a second.
Yeah.
But this is the same TSA that once argued with the same individual, my guy who delivers stuff to me via commercial airplanes,
Okay.
about a jar of peanut butter.
Okay.
The TSA insisted it was a cream. My guy says, "How can it be a cream?" They pointed to the word creamy. My guy says, "Creamy indicates it's like a cream, but not a cream." No one describes a cream as creamy. They kept the peanut butter anyway.
Anyway, as part of the additional security check, they opened up all of Watto's luggage, right? And
Yeah.
the man's going through with the little swabber, and then he comes upon my sequel hat, right? And he knocks it. There's a... And then he looks up at Watto and he says, "Is that a helmet?" And Watto went, "Yes." And he went, "Do you work in construction?" Now, let's interrogate this for 1 second. A construction worker is flying to a different construction site and packs his helmet in his carry-on just so he can waste no time getting to the construction site upon landing. And it was as if the moment the sentence finished, "Are you a construction worker?" he realized, that's a dumb question. I'm looking at you, you are not. And I said, "No." And he said, "Why do you have a helmet?" And I said, "It's for a show." And he said, "A show on Broadway?" And I looked down at my sequel hat covered in green duct tape, and I went, "No." He said, "Good luck."
Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out Patrick Connor.
Patrick Connor! Now,
Hello.
Patrick, you're looking fly, you're looking sharp.
Thank you. I'm wearing a new jacket. I want to show this off.
Yes.
This is an ILM VFX jacket, and guess what it says on the back? Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We love it.
Now, not to big dog you, but Whitta also has a blockbuster new jacket to debut. And his
Okay.
jacket was given to Whitta en route to the show.
We're going to switch mics because your mic is not great.
What?
Yeah.
What was wrong with it? I sound quieter now.
Well, I don't know. It was just, it was very muffled.
Really?
It sounds better now. Let's not waste time on this.
Watto-
The
Watto-
audience listening.
Watto.
Okay. Oh.
Don't take away from the jacket's moment by doing your dumb theremin routine.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you, Stoney, for the Watto jacket. Patrick, do you want to be a jacket pal?
Yes, of course I want to be a jacket.
Too late, missed your window.
I was
It's
just
not the
about
same kind of jacket.
The lesson is, if you hadn't wasted all this time with your mic routine,
Yeah.
you would have been a jacket
Your
pal.
jacket is different. Yours is more like an athlete's jacket.
It's not
Yeah.
as shiny.
Yeah.
Am I the most athletic out of the three of us?
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know.
I'm in peak physical condition. I work out constantly.
Yeah. Let's bring out our guests.
All right, Whitta, you want to introduce our guests?
Yes, hold on.
He knows who the guests are.
I know.
He's doing a bit.
Grogu's and Grogras, please welcome to the stage Gary Whitta and Rose Duignan!
Yeah! Here we go. I'm going to walk Rose over since I'm very athletic. Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Hello, Gary. Hello, Rose.
Hello.
Hello, George.
It is on, right, Rose?
I don't think. Oh, yes.
Yes, there we go.
Who is out there?
Who's out there? Everybody identify yourselves.
Grogu's and Grogras. Yes. Everyone on the count of three, say who you are. One, two, three.
You got it now.
There we go. Well, what a delight to have you here at Sketchfest. It's so nice to see both of you.
Thank you. When was the last time I saw you?
Oh, gosh. How long has it been?
It would have been like 2015.
Yeah, it's definitely pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Gary Whitta, writer of Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
We love it.
One of your best.
Well, I had very little to do with that one, but I laid the groundwork. Obviously, you couldn't have Rogue One without something. I like that it's a prequel.
Good on you.
That's good. I like that.
I love episode ones.
Yeah. But it's also a prequel that's a sequel. It's a 2-in-1.
Like in episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one to pull
It
off.
sits in between the two trilogies, like a bridge.
Like a bridge, or like the other trilogies are like bread, and maybe it could be filling to make a sandwich.
Yeah. Rogue One is the meat in the Star Wars sandwich.
Yeah, and the trilogies are bread, and who doesn't love more bread?
Yeah.
But you don't want to fill up on the bread before you get to the meat.
But you always do, don't you? Inevitably.
Every time.
Because the bread's so good, it's so warm.
But a lot of people say the meat's the best part. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people out there who are like, I like the meat
Yeah,
the
there's
most.
also people who say meat is murder.
Yeah, they do say that.
Sure.
Patrick and you should be more considerate,
Yeah.
especially in San Francisco, a very liberal town.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's on Skywalker Ranch they have Skywalker beef.
That's true.
We went yesterday. You invited us very kindly for lunch. We had the Skywalker Wagyu burger.
Yeah.
We went there and they said, hey, do you see those cows over there? Would you like a burger for lunch?
Yeah.
And we all said, yup.
Yeah. I didn't have a,
They
I-
said, do you see those cows over there? And then the camera swung back to Watto, and he had a napkin tied around his neck and a fork and knife, and he was licking his lips. Like a cartoon.
But it's not. It won't be the last time that we bring up the lunch that we had yesterday at the ranch, because if you guys like that as a story, just get ready because
Huge tease.
some lucky person in the audience is going to be very happy that we had lunch yesterday at Skywalker Ranch.
All we're saying is someone is going to... I think I can say this, George.
Say it.
Someone is going to walk out of this show tonight with a genuine artifact from the real Skywalker Ranch. George has never done this before. He's never pulled from the personal archives, and you're going to get an item you will not believe you get to take home with you.
I've resisted using this show for that purpose because I felt it would cheapen it as a talk show. But
Yes.
here we are at a comedy festival, and I thought it'd be hilarious.
For the first time, the audience of the George Lucas Talk Show came to your neighborhood, basically.
That's right. This was an easy one.
Yes.
But did Watto, was he allowed on
Absolutely.
Skywalker Ranch?
Watto was born at the ranch.
Were you?
Yeah, I was born there. Did my nursery.
Yeah.
I went, I touched it. It was so much smaller than I remember. I mean, I say nursery. It's an old PC.
Yeah.
I did. I know I did. I talked my way on. I said, you think you're tougher than TSA? I broke them.
Now, Rose, when's the last time you and I saw each other in person? Because we go way back.
We do. We go back to the very beginning.
Lucasfilm Luminary.
Star Wars.
Episode 4. remember how excited I was to make. I said, we're making the 4th one.
Do you remember that day where he said, "It's a 4"?
I just remember that you almost had a heart attack when I first met you.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting out in the lobby when you were waiting to go in.
Yeah, but you had just gotten back from shooting all the live action.
Ugh.
And you come back to ILM and discover that nothing has been done. Not a single, well, maybe 2 elements, but not a single shot. And you had heart palpitations, and you were very upset.
I'm still upset thinking about it. They were supposed to be making Star Wars.
Which is why you destroy the...
It reminds me.
The videos, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All the things that didn't get done. We didn't even finish the movie. I didn't finish that movie until it went on Disney+.
The McClunky cut.
Yeah.
You kept saying that you were only 25% done, that you felt like you only had gotten 25% of what you wanted.
Yeah. But now I have 100%. It's perfect now.
Well, I remember one time on the stage of Star Wars, you said to me, only thing that matters is the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of any film.
That's a great
true.
quote. That's a great George quote.
Because if it's good enough in the first 10 minutes, people will stay. Even if it gets bad in minute 11, people will hold on. Like, maybe they'll get back to it.
Yeah.
And then you can go as long as you want.
Yeah.
Because that first 10 minutes will hook them.
Yeah. I remember.
But they'll start to get angry. Once you're an hour, 2 hours in, they'll start to get angry and they'll miss those first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you pull that last 10 minutes out. They forget the whole movie.
I remember you telling me. I said after I was born, I said, "What was it like working with Sir Alec Guinness?" And you said, "I remember him asking me on set, George, what's my motivation in this scene?" And you said, "Alec, it doesn't fucking matter. You're not in the first 10. You're not in the last 10. No one will give a shit. Your performance is irrelevant."
Yeah. I remember what, it's always the hardest conversation a director has with the actors is when you tell them they're not in the first or the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember when I told you that, Watto, I said,
Yes.
You're not in the first 10 minutes, you're not in the last.
And I said, "That's fine. I'm willing to work my way up."
Yeah.
And then I said, "What's episode 2?" And you're like about page 87. And I was like, "Until," and you were like, 88. And then ep 3, cut out.
But that also gave you the freedom to do whatever you wanted.
Well, for me, it was a jazz set. That's really how I viewed eps 1 and 2. Phantom and Clones for me were jazz sets. It was about the notes I didn't play.
Yeah.
Beebo-do-ba-da-ba-boo. Skibidi-bop-bop.
But Rose, you really helped pull it all together. For anyone who watched the Light and Magic documentary series on Disney+. Yeah. Obviously, you play such a pivotal part in being able to actually finish the movie in a real way. Could have been a disaster.
But you know that I got way too much credit in that series. And I think somebody liked me. I think it was my hair.
It's good hair.
I think it was good hair.
Yeah.
And I think that there were so few women working that they really gave me and then Richard Edlund says, "I think it was Rose that turned us around." Oh, come on. Come on. You know I didn't do that. But I did come in with the grown-ups.
That's right.
And you appreciated that because you were a person that really wore both the producer and the director hat.
2 hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's not forget the writing.
And you wrote it too.
With hatless. I did the writing. I don't even wear the writer hat.
No, the writing was more of a vest.
Yeah. Producer hat, director hat. No, I don't need a writer hat. That's 3 hats. That's too many hats.
I remember when you were in the, you used to stay late and because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So you and I would be there stamping storyboards or whatever. And you sat there and you were scrawling something on a yellow pad and you said, "How does this sound? A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." And I said, "Well, I don't like the long, long, far, far." So you scrabbled some more and you said, "A long, long time ago in a galaxy far away." I said, "I don't know, flip it." So you did.
Yeah.
So I feel like I helped you write Star Wars.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing in every Star Wars.
One could
Not
call
Rogue,
you
not Rogue One though. We don't say it in Rogue One.
the mother of Crawley.
Yes.
The mother-
Crawley, of course, is a sentient creature
Now a sentient
that
life form that talks
I
to
saw
us.
this crowd loved Crawley.
crowd loves Crawley.
That's
Rose-
why I told that story.
It is maybe the single weirdest aspect of this fucking show is that every time the screen says, hello, I am Crawley and I am the Crawl, it gets the biggest pop of the entire night.
More
Nothing
than George,
we do.
more than Watto, more
we
than
never
Patrick.
surpass it in the run of any show.
Yeah.
They love him.
Now, and that just proves that writing is rewriting. Would you agree, Gary?
No, I hate rewriting.
You hate rewriting? So you think writing is writing and that rewriting is what? Awful?
Yeah, I just generally just throw in a first draft and bullshit my way through the rest of the process.
Do you,
Rewrite. I know I can't read. I work in Hollywood as a screenwriter, and a lot of the more lucrative jobs are rewriting other people's shit.
Script doctor.
Yeah, script doctor. And there are some people who are really good at that, and those are the guys that make the big money.
You don't feel, is it because, is the oath of the script doctor first do no harm?
Yes, we
Is
have
it
a
a similar Hippocratic oath?
it's more in Hollywood. It's more of a hypocritical oath.
Oh, slam. Yeah, we came to the comedy festival. We're not playing around.
it's also, look, there's big money to be made, but you have to invest the years in script medical school. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, at that point, it's...
Yeah, you got to do
But
rounds.
if you can bring a script back snatch it from the jaws of death, then you're
Oh,
worth a,
my
you're worth
buddy
a lot of
Steve-
money
my
to
buddy
the
Steve
studio.
made Jaws. You say Jaws, I think of my buddy Steve.
Yeah.
That shark could bite. Bit a whole boat. Did you see that? You saw Jaws, right?
I saw Jaws, yeah.
See that? He bites the whole
I
boat.
remember when he bites the boat, yeah.
They're on the boat. They think they're going to catch the
That's
shark.
my favorite part in all
Yeah.
of Jaws is when he bites the boat.
Think about this for a second.
Yeah.
He bites the boat.
No
He
one's
doesn't
ever talked about this.
He doesn't even want to eat the boat.
No.
He bites the boat so he can eat the men on the boat.
He takes a bite of the boat and then he goes, ew, yucky.
Yeah.
I don't like boat. Do you know, can you think about how differently that movie would have gone if the first time Jaws shows up on the beach and everyone's freaking out, Richard Dreyfuss goes, hold on, wait! There might be a script in his mouth. I hear this is how you make the big money. Let me try to snatch this script from the jaws of defeat.
Oh my God.
It'd be a different world today, I'll tell you that.
Very different.
So Gary, you've done some script doctoring?
My point, I don't like to do it. I don't like to mess around with other people's script. I got sent a script once for a movie to rewrite, and it was written by Lawrence Kasdan, and I sent it back and said,
Larry.
I'm not touching it.
Oh, good man.
Because there are some writers that I would like. What are you kidding me? Like I can't do better than what he would already have done. But I just don't like. I don't like when people rewrite me.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time, by the way.
Yeah.
But so I don't like rewriting. I would rather just write my own stuff and be left alone.
Yeah. I like having control too.
But on Rogue
Yeah.
One, was it you? Was it all you?
No.
no. Oh, now we've opened a wound. We've opened a wound.
4 credited writers on the movie, and more than that who aren't credited.
Oh. Normally you say the number 4, and I think of the first Star Wars, but now you say the number 4, and I'm so sad.
The rare sad 4.
How did you feel when it happened?
When what happened?
When they started rewriting you?
Oh, I mean, it sucks.
It sucks.
But I was very fortunate, and the person that I was replaced by, Chris Weitz, who became one of my best friends,
Friend of the show.
is very, 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 very gracious.
Gentleman
And
scholar.
worked off of my draft, and that's why there's still a lot of my DNA in the film. And he and I became friends, and
Yeah.
afterwards, speaking of Jaws, everyone who's been through the Star Wars machine,
Yeah.
so obviously it's the greatest privilege of your life to work on Star Wars, but there's also some emotional scarring that can happen.
Yeah.
And every now and again, if I sit around with like Phil Lord or Chris or Boyega or anyone that we know, that we all become like this kind of found family. We do kind of sit around occasionally and do the scene from Jaws where it's like, here's my scar. Oh, I got that beat.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary, I know Chris Weitz has told me that one of his greatest points of pride in his time on the Rogue One script,
We should say Chris Weitz and Watto, close personal friends.
close friends,
That's what I had assumed. Yeah.
texting terms.
Chris wrote on Clumps, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Watto was in the punch-up room on that. You see clumps? Nutty too?
Rose, have you seen Clumps, Nutty 2?
No.
Who has time to say professor? We just call it Nutty 2.
No,
Clumps.
Professor,
Yeah.
that movie?
Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
From
yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 3. That was the movie I acted in.
Sorry.
You remember that, right?
Yeah,
Cop
sure.
3? Do you remember Cop 3? Beverly?
BHC 3.
We'll circle back to this. Don't worry. There'll be a lot more Eddie Murphy talk. Gary, the point is,
Yes.
Chris Weitz told me one of his greatest points of pride in his time on Rogue One was that he got the names of his sons in the film as like canonical aliens. Like he got it in a script stage, so they were baked into the movie. Is there anything you snuck into the movie like that? So the personal life Easter eggs.
I remember Chris definitely did the load the movie up by that. Baze Malbus was the name of his old character when he played D&D.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he canonized it into Star
I
Wars.
can't believe he never told me that.
Wow.
Is there something of mine that is in there that
That's
I'm
what I'm
proud of?
asking, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I mean, kind of sort of backwards. I named a lot of the planets and Edu and named a bunch of different planets. And I had actually named pretty much all of them through the script. And then I got to the end to go to the final planet where they steal the plans. And Gareth and I would sit around working in the Lucasfilm offices on the script. And I would say, I think it's time, there's one big thing left to name, and you haven't named anything yet. You should name something in Star Wars. He said, well, what do you want me to name? I said, the final planet where they go to steal the plans. He said, I got to go and think. And so he went, our office was around the back of a Starbucks. And he went into the Starbucks, and he said, I want my large. He would order this ridiculous, like, sugar bomb frappuccino thing every day. And he said, I want that. And Gareth's, I'm English, but you can't tell because I've lived here for almost 30 years, but he's still very English. And he said, I'll have my double frappuccino. And he said, oh, who's it for? He said, Scarif. And he came back to me and said, I've got the name of the planet. And he put the Starbucks cup down and it said Scarif.
Oh my God.
That rules.
And that's, so somewhere out, because we actually went back, but she wasn't there anymore. But like somewhere out there's a Starbucks barista who has no idea she named a Star Wars planet.
Wow.
She doesn't see a penny from it.
Now, speaking of Starbuck, Rose, you worked on Battlestar Galactica, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful transition, George. Round of applause for that transition. Seamless. Only at Sketchfest you get a transition like that.
Yes, and didn't you try to sue us for trying to steal all the ships? And all my notes from all the meetings were taken, and there wasn't a single reference to Star Wars in all Battlestar Galactica, which was a terrible movie.
Wow.
On TV, remember? They had the poster, the most expensive television movie ever. Like that was something to be proud of.
Yeah. But that was so soon after we did 4.
It was immediate.
Yeah.
And that's actually when you moved back up north and proceeded to build ILM for Empire Strikes Back. And we stayed and did Battlestar Galactica because I wasn't ready to leave LA at that time. I did call you and ask you for a job again after I went undercover through the Army. I just thought that was so interesting. Women, birth givers going through the Army and being allowed to kill people. So I thought, ooh, that sounds fun. So I went undercover through basic training, and then it turned into girls with big tits falling in the mud. And I was so disappointed. So I called you, and I said, I'm ready to be a worker drone again. And I came back and worked on Jedi and stayed there for another 20 years.
And here's the thing, but it wasn't just Battlestar. You also worked on Star Trek too.
Yeah.
Do you mean Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, or Star Trek as well?
No, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, not Star Trek as well. Here we go again.
She worked on Star Trek 2 too.
I also worked on Star Trek 1.
Whoa.
And 2, yeah.
But then, and you were there for Jedi?
Absolutely. I was head of production on Jedi, and you
Yup,
were
yup.
so generous. You came to a party at my house. I had the wrap party, and
Great party.
George,
He never stops
You
telling me
wouldn't
about
know.
this party.
You wouldn't know.
I
because-
wouldn't know what a great party is.
No, you are the worst party animal ever.
No.
Rose, we've hit gold. Let's dig in. Let's dig.
What do you mean?
I like this.
I'm like Spuds McKenzie. I'm the original party animal.
No, I remember you. I created a parking space for you.
Great parking.
Great parking. And at one point, I had all these posters up.
I love posters. I love posters.
I know, and I asked you to sign my poster.
Yeah.
And you said, sure.
I'll do it.
And so I went to get a pen, but I was kind of loaded because I'd been making tequila. Having everybody who arrived, I made them take a shot at tequila. I thought, what a good idea.
Yeah.
Really bad idea.
Yeah.
So I was like on my 15th shot of tequila, and you kept staring at me as I was dancing, and I'm like, why is he staring at me? That's so weird. Years later, do you remember this, George? I said to you, do you remember that time at the party when and you said, I remember it vividly. Ouch.
George.
Don't kink shame. We're sex positive on this show.
George.
Can I-
Georgie.
Did you sign the poster, George?
No,
Rose,
he
you
never
didn't?
did. I never returned.
George.
I never returned with a pen.
George.
It was my fault. It was
No,
my
it
fault.
wasn't.
I need a pen. What am I supposed to do? I don't have a pen.
Oh my God.
Can I tell you my favorite story about you?
Absolutely. Before we do, I think just to show you that I love to party. We went to my friend Francis's winery yesterday.
We
and-
did a little tour of George's past, and he took
Yeah.
us to Francis's winery, and he took us to Pixar, the company he sold.
Yeah.
And we come tonight bearing gifts from both.
Waro, do you want to? Would anyone like a glass of wine from Francis's winery?
This is
No,
true.
thank
Went
you.
to the winery and asked, "What is the best wine you have?" And they sort of looked like this and said, "There's one bottle left. It's the best wine we've ever produced. We're not supposed to sell it because the label is fucked up." And Watto bought it, and walking out, 2 employees went, "God damn it, I thought I was going to buy that. I was waiting
It was really
for it."
sad.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was really genuinely sad.
Yeah.
And I said, "Don't worry, I'll drink it during a comedy show."
All right. Tell me your story, Gary.
'Cause I'm not sure-
Because I'm going to have some of this
I
wine,
don't know
too.
if you're aware of the repercussions of what you did.
What did I do?
Okay,
Did I stare at you while you were dancing?
So as you know, you weren't really that involved with Rogue One.
Barely.
But Gareth,
I liked it.
Gareth, the director, and I both, of course, idolize you.
Thank you.
And there was a lot of speculation about whether or not you would come to the set or take an interest in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, it seemed like no. And then one day, the word came down, George is going to come and look at the set. We were fully shooting at that point, and everything's up. And Gareth in particular, who again idolizes George, was quite nervous. And everyone, and we know he's going to, all the model shops, and you ever walk around a production office, it's all the art up on the walls, and it's usually pretty messy. And so everyone's suddenly cleaning up because George is coming to visit. Somebody told me once that the Queen thinks that the world smells like paint because everywhere she goes, it's been painted the day before. And it's like that when like a super, it's like George is royalty coming to this place, and so everything's got to be squared away, and so everyone's tidied up. And George came in, and Gareth escorted him around and showed him this is this and this is that, and every single time every single time you would point at something, and so you would say I like that, and Gareth's like that's in the movie. And he's oh that's cool. Oh that's in the movie now because George you've blessed it.
Yeah.
And it was all very nice, and he met everyone and spoke to everyone. And before he left, Gareth said, "Would you please sign something here? Leave your autograph."
Uh-oh, I've heard this before.
Have you heard this one?
Uh-oh. No.
So we had this beautiful model of the U-wing, which is the new ship we had designed for the troop carrier ship.
The me wing?
Yes, the me wing. That's right, the George wing. And even in the age of CG, they still build the models. And it was like, It was like this big, and it was this beautiful. I don't know if it was like sculpted out of clay or whatever, but it was incredible. This beautiful model.
So dumb. Why'd you do it?
And George grabbed. There's always Sharpies around. He grabbed a Sharpie and he signed the U-wing. And I was, oh, that's so cool. And he left, and then a bunch of people went, oh, now we have to build a new one because they hadn't painted it yet. It still had to be painted, and they can't possibly paint over your autograph, and so they had to set that one aside and build it all over again.
Why is everyone scared of me? I'll sign stuff. You don't need to. You could tell me, don't sign that. Sign something else. And there's just a couple things. You got to give me a pen. Don't say. I
mean, I don't think some model guy from ILM as George is going to go, what the fuck are you doing? As George is going to sign, you get to sign whatever you want.
But he doesn't have to. Yeah, he could just say, George, why don't you sign this? We're not done. You're going to ruin our work. Or give me a pen. If you dance instead of giving me a pen, I'm going to watch. I promise you. And I don't think anyone would be any different. If any of you, someone came over and said, will you sign my poster? And you said, sure. And instead of giving you a pen, you did a dance. You'd watch that person, right? Oh, very good. This is what? This is Cars. Just Cars? Cars 3?
Right, because we went to the Coppola Winery and we went to the Pixar, and so we got the bottle of the Coppola Reserve, but we also got a set of 3 commemorative Cars trilogy wine glasses.
Cars 3 wine glasses. Incredible.
George has Cars 3. I have Cars 2. Watto has Cars 1.
Now, the thing I have heard is that the Cars 2 wine glass makes the Cars 3 wine glass look like the Cars wine glass.
Do we have glasses for Gary and Rose, or do Gary and Rose? You don't
It's
want?
just gonna be us.
No,
We're just gonna be drinking.
Okay.
I hate that got applause.
Rose, after Jedi, what do you remember about working on Caravan of Courage, the Ewok movie?
Rose,
You're
Rose,
just
I want to
bringing
say,
up all the worst.
Rose, we love the Ewok. Legitimately, we love the Ewok movies.
Oh, sorry. You love Caravan of Courage?
Rose, if I told you I had an 8-foot by 4-foot Italian Ewok poster, Ewok movie poster, would you believe me?
Oh my God. I felt so sorry for that little girl. Remember the little girl in Caravan of Courage? She was 5 or 6, and she would do her mascara she knew exactly how to do mascara, and she's 5. And her mother used to dye her hair.
Oh my gosh.
You dye a 5-year-old's hair?
It's very blonde.
It's very blonde. And she got really sick. Do you remember that? You were so kind, George.
I'm a kind man.
You were such a kind man. Because that little girl was so sick, she was nauseous. She thought that the costume... George, you never drink.
George, this is true. You never drink, George.
Wow.
Just to clarify, I know you're saying that George Lucas never drinks.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear. George Lucas never drinks. Do you want another glass, George? Can you imagine if the people who work at the Coppola Vineyard knew that I was drinking this out of a Watto crazy straw right now? The best wine they've ever produced.
Warm.
They also said this is not going to come back for years because the fires destroyed the grapes that made this wine.
They were the smoke damage, it will take at least 10 years till we could even come close to replicating this blend. Sorry, I interrupted the story of the little girl in Caravan of
No,
Courage.
I was done.
The kindness of me to the little girl.
You were so kind. Because she was sick, she was nauseous, and you just kept giving her more time, and finally she came out of the trailer.
Right.
And she did an excellent job, I thought.
With those Ewok movies, however much time we needed to get it exactly right,
Now, Rose, let me ask you a question, because we've asked some people about this, and we have not gotten a strict answer on this. Did they shoot a lot of those movies on the ranch?
Very, very close, off
Yeah.
of Lucas Valley Road. I
So
actually
that's right
did some
there.
location scouting
Oh, wow.
and found this great, set of trees and everything. Yeah, we shot it all locally.
So easy,
Yeah.
so easy.
John Cordy was the director.
Yeah.
You allowed him to be the director.
Yeah,
You're so
took off one of my
generous.
hats.
You're so generous, George.
Thank you. You like the book you wrote?
I co-wrote. Did
I
you
know.
change it?
Co-wrote. No, it's a nice
Yeah,
edition.
co-wrote. There it goes.
Yeah. there
George,
you are.
I'm sorry. Your question was, you like the book you wrote?
I'm very grateful for that book because, again, George, your generosity. I had left ILM and I called up and I said, "Hey, we need another book, just like Tom Smith's book, which was done like 10 years earlier." And I thought they made a huge mistake at Ballantyne's because it looks exactly like Tom's book, so that all the people in the store thought, "Oh, I already own this book." And so his book was like reprinted 20 times. This book was reprinted maybe 3 times.
I mean, look what printing this one is.
But it's a great book, and I am very grateful to Mark Vazcotta for, I'd be happy to sign that for you, George.
Now, Rose, I'll say this: it is my copy of the book.
Oh.
So don't sign it to George, but
right.
you know.
This is a first edition.
I'll sign it to you. It must be a
Great, great,
first
great.
It's a
edition.
first edition.
Yeah.
I'll sign it too if you want.
I do not.
This is rude.
Do not want that, George.
I'll sign it. to my-
Devalues the book, George.
I'll do a little drawing of you in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But did you watch? Do you remember when you watched The Caravan of Courage? Because we shot it for TV, but it was released theatrically in Europe. Do you ever make it over to Europe for a screening?
I was extremely pregnant during that whole show and the whole shoot. And
Pregnant with excitement for how well the film was turning out?
it was just a job.
Yeah.
And I was associate producer, and all the men on the set were so kind to me because they wouldn't let a pregnant woman stand for more than like 10 seconds. So they were constantly shoving chairs under my rear end.
Is Wicket as nice in real life as he seems on screen? Because he just seems... I've heard he's one of the
He's
nicest.
Adorable.
Adorable. Low Gray's a little touchy, right?
One of them, one of the famous little people, I went to get him out of his trailer, and he was in his underpants, and he attacked my leg.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know
that
you
happened.
were. I never told you that before.
If you had, I would have done something about it.
I know. You would have. Sorry.
Rose, have you ever seen the Today Show Halloween episode? Where
With the Ewoks?
Yes.
Yeah, legendary.
Yes, this is true. Okay, so we had Meredith Vieira on this show.
Wow.
And, the Today Show, they'd all dress up in a themed costume or whatever. And there was one year where they all were doing Star Wars costumes. And they hired a bunch of little people, actors, to play Ewoks. And apparently they all went out the night before and got really drunk.
Yes,
and we're not hungover. We're still drunk because
Yes.
it's like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
Yes.
When they
And
like
the Ewoks
moonwalking
started-
and stuff?
They started humping her leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be
Highly,
an Ewok
highly
thing.
sexualized.
Yes.
I know.
They were moonwalking. It started out with bits, and then it became like a full-on assault.
Yeah.
George, you're eating a cookie.
We're gonna let this happen.
You should be careful. The sugar.
I know. I am famously diabetic.
No one knows it better than him.
No, this is from the ranch. This is a cookie from the ranch.
Gary, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Just as a fan, I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to ask you.
Sure.
Now, you got a lot of irons in the fire.
I do.
But you've talked about your work trying to get a Last Starfighter continuation off the ground, working with the
Yeah, we've been working on
the
that for
original
years.
film. Last Starfighter is one of my favorite films, and a film that has been so desperately crying out for a continuation. Where do things stand with that?
I would actually I'm fascinated to ask an audience full of Star Wars fans, how many of you here are also fans of The Last Starfighter?
That's pretty good.
It's not bad, I'll take it.
If you haven't seen it, it is truly one of the greatest concepts for a movie ever. And I don't
It's,
say that
you know, it's-
reductively, but when you
it's
watch
all-
that film and it unfolds, you go, holy
It all
shit.
comes out of the same stuff. Luke
Yes.
Skywalker and Alex Rogan are the same character. They're stuck in a dead-end life, but they think there's something better for them out there beyond the horizon, and then, fate comes and finds them. It's all that kind of
Hero's journey.
Hero's journey, Campbellian myth.
Oh, George.
Classic stuff.
Oh, no.
For those who don't know, it's
Barkeep.
this young man.
Oh no.
Young man lives in a trailer park. Everyone thinks he's sort of wasting his life, that he's stuck.
Yeah.
He dreams of something bigger. The one thing he's got going for him, he's really good at this arcade game.
Yep.
He's there at the trailer park, and a man shows up in a
Well,
magical...
he beats the high score on the
He
game.
beats the high score on the day where he finds out he gets the letter he was rejected.
Well,
from.
his big
Yeah.
dream, he has the biggest dream. He just wants to go to college.
Right.
And he doesn't get in, and he gets pissed off, and he goes and beats the Starfighter game and beats the high score.
Yes, and it's like his highest high and his lowest low on the same night.
Yep.
And this is insane.
Yeah,
George
it's
has
in
polished
fact, the way
bottom.
it's structured
Yes.
is quite right after he beats the score and runs to his mother to say, Mom, I beat the score on the Starfighter game. And her response is, you didn't get into college.
Yes. And it's very classic.
It's harsh.
Yes, you start your hero low, and then a man shows up
Yep,
in a
Centauri.
limo, Mr. Centauri.
Centauri.
And he says, I am the creator of Starfighter. That game you've been
Yep.
playing is a recruitment tool.
For real life Starfighters.
It's real. And the
Yep.
limo goes into space, and they basically go, you don't know it, but you've been training your whole life for
That's
this
right.
moment.
And when he gets into the real cockpit, he recognizes all the controls from the arcade game.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. But so where do things stand?
So for the longest time, it was impossible. Nobody could do it.
Yes.
Every time I would go into a meeting in Hollywood and someone would say, like, what's your dream project? It's like, Starfighter. Because I adore that movie. And the other people, whoever you're in the room with, would be like, oh, yeah, well, us too, but like the rights are impossible. Spielberg's tried to get them. No one can do it.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve, your buddy. No one can get them. And it turned out, it's because the original writer won't play ball, and he's got some piece of the rights, and he won't do
Buttel,
it.
is that his name?
John Betchwell, yeah.
Yes.
And I found him. And I said, what is it? He said, it's all bullshit. They want me to do it, but they want me to do it as like straight to DVD, cheap ass sequel. And I'm not going to, I said, come correct. So he said, come to me when you want to do a proper theatrical sequel. And it turned out that's what he was holding out for. And it was really, because you would never get this now, ever. But he showed me his original contracts from Lorimar. Remember Lorimar?
Oh, yeah.
This contract from like 1982. And he still had it, and it was like a fax of a fax of a fax of a fax. It looked like the Dead Sea Scrolls. But it was still legally binding, and I don't know how he got it, but he got a clause that you would never get in the Hollywood of today that said, as the originator of the piece, he had veto power or say, or the rights would be involved in any sequel.
He basically got like the Lucas contract, except it never became Star Wars.
Right. But
It's been frozen.
he must have had a good lawyer, or the Lorimar lawyers weren't very good, but he got this thing. And so the rights, and what happened was Lorimar went into bankruptcy, and the rights to Starfighter scattered to the four winds. And some ended up at Universal, some ended up at Warner Brothers, and then John's got this other piece. Mm. But you need all three Skeksis need to come together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one can do it. And John was like, I only want to do it in the right way. And I found him, I said, let's pitch them the right movie, and they'll do it. And we went away and we worked on a whole idea for a sequel. Not a reboot, or, it's... Lance Guest, the whole plan is he would be in the movie as Alex 30 or 40 years later with his kids, and we had a whole presentation. And we went to Warner Brothers and we pitched him on it, and they said, it's great. We want to make the movie. And they sent in the offer, and it still wasn't right. And we've been going back and forth ever since, and for the longest time it seems like it's dead. But I will tell you this, and I can't go into any detail, but this literally just happened. I got a call from John a couple of days ago, and he said it's back on. Whoa! So
is that a Sketchfest exclusive?
Well, I guess, and I can't I've gone like over the. It's like I was right at the point of thinking it's done. It's never going to happen. Like we left it all out on the field, but it's not going to happen. And I still don't know because nothing's ever really going to happen for sure. But there was some very optimistic news in the last couple of days about the Starfighter.
That is
continuation.
So
it's exciting.
So you want to do last Starfighter stuff. You do Last Jedi stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I adapted Ryan's movie for Marvel Comics.
Yeah, so you like it. You like it when it's
And
got
I would-
last in the
and
title.
I would send Ryan pages. I would text him and say, "Look, I made your scene better," or whatever. I would like annoy him.
Yeah.
He loved it. He thought it was funny. 'Cause
Ryan's
I
nice.
didn't want to change anything, but there was a couple of things about Last Jedi that irritated me, and so I fixed them or did my version of them in
Yeah.
the comic.
Yeah, but what my point is that you like it when it says the last in the
Oh
in
yeah,
the
no,
title.
I like
the last Starfire, the
like-
last Jedi.
I like
what do you
things-
think about the last unicorn? You want to do that?
I like things to come to an end.
You know the last unicorn?
No,
You
I'm
ever
not
see
familiar with
movie?
that one.
You never seen the last
No,
unicorn?
is that a good one? Should I have seen it?
I think Angela Lansbury does a voice in it.
I am not kidding. 2 glasses and a sip. This is the drunkest George has been in a decade, at least.
I think I picked up on something, Gary. What is it about finality that appeals to you as a storyteller? Is it the sense that the stakes are higher when it's slipping away?
I mean, I've never thought
You ever
about
see
it.
Save the Last Dance for Me?
Oh no.
Last Days of Disco.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
But, I mean, look at The
Sheila.
Last of Us, second biggest
Yeah.
premiere HBO's ever had. People like The Last Thing.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah, because you know why? Because we're all fucking over it.
Right?
Yeah. We're
It's
tired.
like, can this be the last? Whatever it is, can it be the last one?
Yeah.
I think that's the vibe.
Maybe.
But Gary, you have a crazy style, which is you're the only Star Wars writer who's done a movie, a TV
Yeah,
show,
it's
and
a
a comic.
dumb bragging right.
What do you got? What do you got?
I'm the only writer to have written Star Wars for film, television, books, and comics.
FTBC.
Yeah, I've got. Yeah, it's not quite.
You got a Fitbit.
It's not quite an EGOT.
Film, television, books, and comics. You should
Yeah.
put a thing around
I
your
have.
wrist.
I have Fitbook.
A Fitbit.
Yes,
Like an EGOT.
I have Fitbook.
Do you have a Fitbook?
Yeah.
You should wear it on your wrist. Get a little thing that tracks every time you do a Star Wars.
Before I forget, can I give you my offerings that I brought for you tonight?
Oh, yes.
I have a
Oh,
couple
you
of
brought
tributes.
gifts.
It's now the gifting portion of the show.
It's the time to pay tribute.
Get ready. Here we
Little
go.
late for Life Day, but we're still going to do
It's
it.
time to thank the maker.
Thank me.
So when we worked at LDAC, the Presidio facility where Gareth and I worked in the early days of the movie, they had this thing
Yeah.
called the Merch Cave.
Yeah.
And it's where Lucasfilm Licensing keeps all their toys and the products, and there's a million different Star Wars SKUs at any given time, handbags and high-end stuff, and obviously the action figures, so many things. And they have this massive room where you can go and look at it all. But they also have like old stuff that's just sitting around in storage. And at one point they said, just take anything you want. And so we went in there and kind of like grabbed. We didn't try to like haul out a whole bunch of stuff on pallets, but like, you know, we grabbed a couple of things. And so I have a bunch of stuff at home from my time on Star Wars that you might not usually see out in the world.
Whoa.
And I thought, what could I bring you tonight that would be nice enough that you would appreciate,
Please don't be wine.
but not...
He cannot take anymore.
What could I bring you tonight that would be nice enough that you would appreciate, but not so nice that I don't want to give it up?
Yeah.
Like what's
Yeah.
right there? What's in the sweet spot in the middle?
Yeah.
So I got a couple
All
of things
right.
for
What do
you.
you get? The guys get everything.
So this is. I cannot believe that this was.
Hold on,
What?
Gary. Before, let me
Yeah,
stop
go
you.
on.
I hope it's not a Norman Rockwell painting of Bob Hope. Because I already got that. That's for the comedy fans. I know it's a comedy festival, so I brought this little Norman Rockwell painting of Bob Hope.
George, I need you.
Hey, comedy fans.
George,
You like to laugh? You like to laugh?
George, I desperately need you to drink some water.
No,
Desperately.
He's got to finish
Norman
his
Rockwell drew Bob Hope. For real.
This show has been going on for 8 years. This is beyond unprecedented. I need you to understand.
Gary, what's the
Yeah,
gift?
I have two things. I need to get this over with because the more it gets hyped up, the shitter it's going to seem when I give you
No,
the
no,
thing.
I can't wait for this.
All right, so I thought this was cool. It was very strange to find it in mint condition because it's so old. This is Princess Leia's Rebel Jotter. This is the first edition, first round from 1977 Star Wars merchandise.
Whoa!
And it is in absolutely perfect mint condition.
Whoa, George.
Is this for real I can keep? Or are you just showing it?
No, it's for you to keep.
Gary.
This is a new
Rebel
character.
genre.
I've got something that I think is more interesting.
Hold on, let me.
It's
That's
just
good.
blank jotting paper. It's just a
Yeah.
notepad.
I'm gonna
There's
jot-
nothing
I'm
fancy about
This is
it.
a new character on the show. That's what this is.
Made
Yeah.
by
We got the Rebel Jotter.
made by Letraset. Remember Letraset?
Good thing Rose doesn't have a pen, or I would jot in it.
Electroset, you said, Gary.
Letraset.
Okay, I don't remember this. No.
Because I mean they've been out of business I think for a long time. but they
45
made that.
years. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for this gift.
Okay, I have to give you the other one because I think
Okay.
you're going to like this one.
Watto, if you go to Rose's house, she won't have pens. I gotta warn you. You go to Rose's house and penless.
Why are you slamming Rose mid-gift giving? You're taking
She got
unprompted pot shots.
a lot of posters. More posters than pens, I would say. At Rose's parties. You go for a poster party, it's a good time. You expect a pen party, no pens.
Remember when he said George doesn't know how to party?
Oh. Everything is so warm now. Gary,
Yes,
is it 2 gifts or do we have a trilogy?
I have a second gift for you.
Second gift.
All right, this is going to seem weird.
Just so I know, are there a trilogy of gifts or is
No,
the second one?
it's
So it's
just
like the
two.
Ewok movies.
This is
Rose.
a duo-
two and we're out.
It's a duology of gifts.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Caravan of Courage.
Yes.
Now let's
And what
hear
was
the
other one
Battle
called?
for
I don't remember.
Endor.
What was the second one called?
Battle
Ewok
for Endor.
Adventure?
Battle
or?
for Endor.
Battle for Endor.
That's
Wilford
right.
Brimley.
Okay, so this is going to seem very weird. This is from my own personal stash.
What
This is sand from a place in southern England called Bovington Beach, which you would know better as the planet Scarif.
Whoa. Whoa.
This
Named
is,
after the coffee
this
order?
is-
Bovington Beach.
They
In
let me-
England.
so-
Bovington Beach.
Bovington Beach.
Are we going to Bovington Beach today, Father? Hold on.
Oh, don't.
Bovington Beach. That sand is from my kingdom. I'm sorry, have you met King Charles? Have you stolen sand from Bovington Beach?
I did actually steal it because they wouldn't let me take anything else.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
They let me hold the Death Star plans, but I did literally. Could I like slip because they have like they make 5 copies of everything. I could just slip this in my bag.
And people are
But as
trying
it
to
turns
steal
out,
those left
Lucasfilm
and right.
security is way better than Imperial security, and I couldn't get it out of there. So fuck it, I'll just take some sand.
Yeah.
And so I scooped some up, and I have a little jar of it at home. And so this is sand from Scarif.
That's amazing,
Gary,
George.
that's too kind.
That's so cool.
That is so cool.
This is a very thoughtful gift, Gary.
Yes.
This is very good.
I'm
George,
feeling really, really badly because I brought you nothing, but I do have a pen in my purse.
You gotta go get it, Rose. You gotta go get it.
Rose, you can be false modest all you want, but you saved Star Wars.
you did. You did.
You know, George Lucas doesn't speak to the man who claimed to save Star Wars. My former boss, George Mather, God rest his soul,
God rest
he really came in, and he came in with all the organization, and all I did was implement it because nobody liked him. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, why?
It's
why
a comedy festival. We can speak
yeah.
ill of the dead. Bob Hope was terrible politically. He was basically pro-Vietnam War. Boo,
Thank
Bob.
you, thank you.
Boo, Bob, boo.
Now, Rose, I mean, I don't want to get into any drama. Why did people not?
Just
Get along with
because, you know, he was brought in. So George gets back from.
I get back.
Oh, George gets back from overseas. Nothing's done.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I spilled some water.
Okay.
It's okay.
That's what he calls it. When he has an accident.
No, the wire hit it.
So anyway, he was very upset, and so he said, we need grown-ups in the room. So he hired George Mather, and then George Mather hired me. And so we came in with the second batch, and there was no organization. Nobody had figured out anything about how we were going to get it done. So Mather did, and I implemented it. And No, he used to just sit in the office and drink little small beers.
Oh.
Like
Okay.
6, 8 a day.
Sure.
And he a great guy,
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
But afterwards, he went on to say he was the man who saved Star Wars. And he was on the Star magazines or whatever those are, those horrible.
Starlog.
Yes. No, it was something else.
I mean, I'll say this. I say I'm the guy who saves George Lucas talk show almost weekly.
Oh.
So.
And I've heard that the FBI's investigation is getting close to finally prosecuting you.
Rose, I give Patrick a full set of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade plates.
Yep.
He won't even hang them up. He keeps them in his closet with his Harry Potter books like he's ashamed of them. It's got everything. It's got Indy with his dad, Indy with the Nazi that he and his dad both dated. It's got everything. He says he lived 2 miles from less than 2 miles from Michael's Crafts. He tell me he can't hang up a plate. They got everything there.
George, don't get too emotional. The show is still happening. Let's also not forget, while we're on the subject of gifts, you do need to gift to one member of the audience
yes.
a genuine artifact from Skywalker Ranch.
Well,
never before, perhaps never again, in the history of the George Lucas talk show.
Never before. Now, before I do this, Gary, I feel bad that you gave me these great gifts, and I didn't bring any. But so I'll give you, if you want it. Do you want a VHS of Young Indiana Jones and the Treasure of the Peacock's Eye?
Who's in that one? Because that show always had really good guest stars, didn't it? Who's in this one? This is the one that has Adrian Edmondson in it.
If you say so.
Who later would show up in The Last Jedi as well.
Oh, he's the captain, right?
He is
he's
the
one of the First Order officers.
Yeah.
He is
Look
the
at
captain
me.
now.
But like real ones know him as Vivian from the Young Ones.
Of course,
That's what
yes, of course.
made him famous.
Of course.
All I know is it was $2 at Amoeba, and that's basically no money.
Now,
Right.
George, before we do the giveaway, we do have a photo of this.
A photo of what?
Well, let him introduce it, and then he'll cue the photo.
Gary, do you want this, or can I give this to the audience?
I wouldn't have anything to play it on, unfortunately.
Who has a VCR?
Oh, I see a white shirt midway back. You were the
3
first one to raise
people.
your hand.
3 people, 4 people.
Yep, right
standing.
there, standing up.
I
Yep.
shouldn't have stood up.
Oh, George, I'll go give it. George, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him.
George is currently in a worse way than when he chugged 3 pitchers of milk on a ship in rocky waters.
All right,
and
so-
vomited backstage.
So this is a two-part. This is a two-part giveaway.
Okay.
We have a photo. My lunch order yesterday at the ranch was a bowl of Skywalker beef chili. That's real.
Yes.
Made from a real cow that you can look at days earlier on the side of the mountain. Now you look up, you only see his or her friends and family. But here's the thing.
I can see what it already is, and you're going to be so disappointed.
Gary.
No.
Gary.
Rose, when we were planning Star Wars, sometimes we would overplan, right?
Who?
We would overplan.
Yes, you were very detail oriented.
And sometimes would there be examples? You don't need to think of a specific one. Would there be examples where we would say, we need more of these things, and then when it comes time, we didn't need as many?
We need 9 X-Wings flying around, and then you're like, I guess we only need 6.
Because you made binders of all the things we needed.
Yes.
Elements.
Elements, they're called.
Was there ever a time when we had 3 more elements planned for that we didn't actually need?
Yes.
Great. Now the story makes full sense.
Because, George, beef chili wasn't the only thing you ordered.
That's right. I ordered this cookie, which I didn't need yesterday, but I need it now to absorb the blood of Christ. Christ was a carpenter. He would have a wood cup.
Just like Harrison.
That's right.
All right.
Hold on. So we have a photo. I ordered some French fried potatoes for a side order. And I thought, well, I'm going to need some ketchup with this. And do we have the photo?
Can we pull it up? Here we go. This is a photo. Now, hang on. You guys are like, oh, look at that beautiful pastoral thing behind Patrick. I can't see any of the details. Oh, hang on.
There's the
now,
house.
you're like, I guess I can see it a little bit better, but let's see what's back there. It's the ranch.
That's the main house.
That's the main house.
The main house.
Now, George, what do we got?
We got all 3 ketchups. These ketchups were on Skywalker Ranch.
Who wants them?
Who wants them? Front row?
Now, wait. Does
What?
one person get all 3? Do 3 people get 1? Does one person get 2? One person get 1?
I think they're a trilogy.
They're a trilogy of ketchups.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? It's more fun if 3 people get them, right?
I agree.
Okay,
Now,
front
but-
row, I saw you.
And you have a Watto Cup shirt on.
A
so I
Watto Cup
think-
shirt.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now
All
these,
right.
yeah. I see Plaid right here waving their hand.
All right, I'm gonna do my best.
Don't fall off the stage, George.
Sorry.
We'll pass that back to Plaid.
And I see someone with 2 hands way back there.
yeah, with the bow on your head. There we go. Mickey ears. Okay, great.
All right.
I don't want to big time you, but do you want to give away a bunch of T-shirts as well?
Yes.
Yes, but before this, do you want the rest of my fries?
Now, I don't want to say you have to eat them during the show, but it would be nice.
You got ketchup.
Would be nice.
George, don't you have one final item from the ranch?
Not from the ranch, but we went, as I said, we went to the Coppola Winery.
Right. Yeah, sorry.
Very nice
I'm just
place.
trying to figure out why you're so excited to be taking ketchup packets out of your own place.
It's not
Gary,
for him, it's
if you
for
were
them.
listening earlier, Rose, I believe it was said that I was extremely kind. Yes, known for kindness and generosity. Notoriously generous, right?
So generous.
Yeah.
So unbelievably generous.
You were
truly.
pregnant. You could people pushing seats under you like,
And
like
how
it's
did you
nobody's
come up-
business.
How did you come up with the force?
Here we go.
How did I come up with the force? How didn't I come up with the force? Let's be honest. Am I right? Oh, hello, Radioland murders.
How much time do we have?
Where have you been all my life?
George, come on, George.
Hold on, I'm
By the way, I
interviewing-
think you're right. This is the best wine they've ever made.
It is
I'll say this. It
the
was
most
good.
potent wine.
So I went to my mentor Francis's winery.
Yes.
Very nice. We got the wine.
Very nice.
You liked it.
Very good.
Very good. Very nice.
I had to use the facilities at one point. Very clean.
Very clean. Very
Like
nice.
astonishingly clean. And I was in there, and I had, I'm generous.
You saw the car from Tucker.
Yeah. Everybody see Tucker? Not the guy. He's terrible. The guy, the
Movie.
car movie that I made with Francis.
Yeah.
That's the good Tucker. Bad Tucker is real bad. But I'm in the bathroom and I thought, I helped Francis make Tucker, and he helped me. I helped him make Godfather. Anytime there's an insert in Godfather, like when Michael Corleone is walking with Kay and they think it's just a good Christmas time they're having, and then they walk past and she's like, Michael, I saw something on that newspaper. And Michael's like, what did you see, Kay, my darling? And then they go back and they see a newspaper headline that says, Don Corleone, Vito Corleone shot down in the streets like a dog.
Yeah.
Who do you think worked the camera? On the insert of it's not Francis, that's George.
That was George. So what did you find there, George?
So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, Francis and I are good friends. He won't mind if I take a full roll of toilet paper. This is Coppola Ranch Winery toilet paper.
Who wants it?
Now,
Who
George,
wants it?
George, before you throw it,
Single ply.
George, before you throw the toilet paper, as you said, it's from the vineyards itself. Can you take a sniff and tell us which notes you are smelling from the toilet paper?
Wow, that's not the kind of comedy I do.
It's unused. It's clean.
Now,
Yeah,
a little woody, a little fruity. What do we got?
it's oaky.
Oaky. Okay. Now, George, I see a hand way in the back corner, and I mostly just picked that because I want you to try.
Wait, which
yeah.
corner? Back
All
there?
the way.
You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it. You like this?
Oh gosh. Sorry.
Don't move closer. Don't make
No,
it
no, no.
easier.
Stay where you are. Stay where you are.
Yes.
You can move closer when he does not make it. There's no stairs. You gotta throw it from here.
George, you got to throw it from this stage.
George, don't do that.
George, don't do that.
Don't do that. It's a
George,
terrible
don't-
idea.
George, for many reasons, don't do that. Why are you walking like Michael Madsen in Reservoir
You're walking
Dogs?
like a Iwerks cartoon, George. Squash and stretch, George. Squash and stretch. Throw it. Throw it.
You're going full up Iwerks, George.
Oh, this is lame.
George, that wasn't funny. It was generous, but it wasn't funny. He's leaving. George,
Okay, now let's do the real show while he's gone.
Okay.
Gary, I have a question.
Great.
Were there any aliens that you tried to get into Rogue One? Any like legacy aliens?
You're
or
talking
something?
species or specific?
Yeah, you want to know a big one?
I do.
We had nerfs in the original Rogue One, and the herders too, nerf herders.
Now, what-
So originally,
Yeah.
you know what Edu, the planet where the Kyber refinery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Originally, that was where they were building the dish, the deflector dish.
Okay.
Because the dish that gets put
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
added last is like
Yeah.
the final component. They build the dish off site, right?
Okay.
So, oh my god.
Just keep going. Just keep going. Ignore him. Pretend like he's not here.
So,
So I tried to get a real question in before he got back.
I don't know. It's
Rose,
inscrutable.
Rose, we don't get it either. George, we're getting a really actual interesting story from Garrett. Just let it happen.
in an earlier version of the movie,
Yeah.
the idea of Edu, there was a little bit more that happened there. And when the rebels landed, they had discovered that the Empire had not just built this massive facility there, but in doing so, they had displaced this massive indigenous population called the Iduai.
Okay.
And they were like the kind of the native, the Na'vi essentially, and the
Sure.
Empire had just come in and polluted their lakes and rivers with all these toxic industrial chemicals, and the Iduai had now been forced to kind of move.
Sure.
But the Iduai were nerf herders. And so literally when the U-wing comes down, we had concept art of this. There was the like the little nerfs are getting kind of like herded around.
That's cool.
And like that was the kind of thing that I would like pat myself on the back for. Like
Yeah.
anybody really gave a shit other than like the hardcore Star Wars
Yeah,
fans
yeah,
in the
yeah.
back. And that was kind of one of the things that I learned on Star Wars. Like at some point, being a Star Wars super fan can work against you. And this is why fans shouldn't really make movies. Is because they get too carried away with the fan service and not the stuff that actually matters. And after a while, I eventually kind of learned to leave my kind of inner fanboy at the door and stop asking questions like, "Oh, but what if Boba Fett showed up? That'd be awesome." And instead go, "What if something actually interesting happened in the story?" But there was a little bit of that process because I got the job, I think, in part because I impressed them with like all my stupid stories about how when I was a kid I would take my Han Solo action figure and put him in the ice cube tray and freeze him in carbonite in the freezer and then run him under like the warm faucet to thaw him out and stupid shit like that. And they liked all that. But after a while it does become kind of counterproductive. There was a moment when I was sitting with Gareth and Doug Chang, and obviously in the final movie there is a lightsaber with the Vader thing at the end, but at the version I was on there was no lightsabers because it was like, do something different. There's no Jedi in this time period.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to check all the Star Wars boxes. The whole point is to make a different kind of Star Wars movie. And that was a big question about like to what extent do we want to be faithful to Star Wars and what extent do we want to go off and do our own thing. And I think in the end we kind of found a balance. But I remember getting nervous about the fact that we were deviating because I was still the fanboy. The inner fanboy was still kind of at the wheel.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting with Gareth and Doug Chang, who you'll know, and
I know him.
a genius guy, does all the production design. And I said, does it occur to anyone that this will be the first Star Wars movie to not have a lightsaber in it? Like, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Well, I said it like I was afraid of it, and Gareth and Doug were like, no, that's why it's cool, is we don't have to do all the things. Like, we don't have to check all the boxes. Like, Force Awakens is like, check every box.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to have, someone puts secret plans in a droid on a desert planet, gets found by a kid who has dreams of a bigger future, flies off in the Millennium Falcon, gets chased around the galaxy by a guy with a red lightsaber and a black mask, and at the end they blow up the Death Star.
Yeah.
Got to have 1/4
Right?
portion too.
It's kind of
Only
like
one.
Star Wars karaoke. It's like you're just going to
Sure.
sing over the original melody and you get a similar result.
Sure.
Whereas the mandate was like, do the exact opposite. Go off and be like really different and don't worry about there's no lightsabers and You know, the only big legacy element we worried at one point is there's no legacy elements at all, really, other than the last 2 minutes when you realize you're now watching the first 2 minutes of New Hope. And so, like, we wanted to get like Tarkin and Vader were not in the early version of the story when I came.
Oh,
on, but
wow.
we added them. Because like, well, look, I mean, like, New Hope is literally like, what, 48 hours after?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird if they're not there. And so we were able to kind of get those characters into the movie in a way that was organic. But originally, I was like trying to shoehorn Boba Fett. I remember sitting with Ryan Johnson, because we both had started at the same time. He was just starting on Jedi while I was doing Rogue. And I said, I want to pitch you an idea, Ryan. It's brilliant. I said, okay, what is it? I said, like, Jyn Erso's walking through this, seedy, like, bazaar, and she's looking for a guy. And then she bumps into this guy, and it's Boba Fett. And Ryan said, so fucking what? And I was like, yeah, and again, I was like, yeah, like, it's just fan service.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter to the story. And that was when the movie, I think, started to take shape, where we started to think about, don't worry about all the fan service. It's still fun to see. What I love about, there's so many different layers and Easter eggs in there. When I remember when we went to see the premiere, they do all the 5 First Legion, the Mandalorian mercs, and all the cosplayers get invited, to make it like a party scene.
Yeah.
And then they stick them all in the back. So like the farther back you're seated, the more of a Star Wars fan you are, weirdly. Me and Chris are sitting in the front. I don't know what that means, but like we're in like near, we've got good seats. And all the cosplayers are in the back. And when like Vader shows up, everybody goes, because, everybody knows Vader. When, Dr. Evazan shows up, like some people kind of go, oh, that's the guy from the cantina.
Yeah.
And then when like Chopper rolls by for like half a second, there's like 4 people in the back going, Chopper! Like they just made the whole movie for them.
Yeah.
And so like fan service has value because those little moments do mean something to people. Oh, look, we just love it. It's why the MCU works. Like we just love it when things kind of cross over.
Yeah.
It's just cool for some reason.
Yeah.
And again, it's finding the right balance between, like, there's stuff in there that's so deeply buried. Like, I think there's some Easter eggs that some people have never even spotted. They're so like deep cuts, and that was kind of the fun, is like figuring out like how to do those. But a little dabble do you is always kind of the mantra, like don't overdo it.
But Gary, you say you making the first Star Wars that got no lightsabers in it, but Rose and I made the Caravan of Courage.
You did.
Not one.
No one can ever take that away from you.
The people of Europe, they know. They go to the movie
Well,
theater.
because they saw it on the big screen as it was meant to be seen.
The people of Europe know what I'm talking about. Who's my European? Where are my Europeans at? No. They know. No. They see. No. They see. That's right. That's right. They see Caravan of Courage. No lightsabers. So even you think you're making.
George.
Even you think you're making one with no lightsabers, but Rose and I already did that.
It's true. It's true. When I think about it now, missing, I'm going to wake up now for the rest of my life, 3 o'clock in the morning, saying I should have said to Gareth and Doug, this will be the first Star Wars movie, apart from Caravan of Courage,
and Battle for Endor,
Battle for Endor.
Rose, you didn't work on Battle for Endor, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Is that a regret? Is that you say thankfully? Why? Too good?
George, you have a mixed bag.
What's that mean? What's that mean? You mean sometimes it's great, sometimes it's just really, really good?
I loved Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi.
Yeah.
But episode 1, 2, and 3. Okay, what you did was amazing because you are Mr. Digital.
That's
and
my
you
name.
Completely changed the face of filmmaking, and I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I fell asleep.
In when?
Episode 1, 2, and 3.
And 3?
Yeah.
All 3?
Yeah.
Well, I'll send you, if you want Blu-rays, I'll send you Blu-rays. Or I'll give you my Disney Plus login if you want.
No, I keep getting Blu-rays.
Watch them in segments like a web series. Here's the thing.
You know the weird thing? And this is something I've noticed in recent times as I kind of observe, the cultural conversation, is that as time, and I don't like the prequels either. But again, like
Rogue One is one of the prequels, Gary.
But again, this is one of these things.
This is self-loathing.
The fact the fact that I didn't like the prequels didn't stop me from putting Bail Organa from the prequels in the movie because it made sense for the story.
You make prequels. I make prequels. We're prequel makers.
We are. We're all part. Yes, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
But I'm actually trying to pay
Do
you.
you know-
If you would
do-
just give me a second, I'm trying to pay you a compliment.
I know. I'm trying to play you.
trying to be
I'm trying to
nice.
play you as a
George,
compliment.
let him talk, George.
Can I tell you this? The Ewok movies are also prequels because they take place before Return of the Jedi. So, Rose, you made a prequel too. This is a whole show of prequel makers. Only person on this stage who hasn't made a prequel is Patrick Cotner, who made, which is a show that's.
There's a Sketchfest scoop for you.
Yeah.
I
Pay the compliment now, Gary.
I have bad association with the prequels. A, because I didn't particularly care for them. Also because I fucked up really badly. My wife, when I met her, had never seen...
You sound like Borat now. My wife.
My wife, when I met her, had never seen a Star Wars movie.
What?
And I'm not the kind of movie bro who's like, oh, you gotta sit down and watch it right away. Like, that kind of bullshit. But like, she was
Not
interested
everybody
in watching
likes
them.
Star Wars.
But at this point, 6 of them had made. The prequels were out. And I swear if I could go back and change anything about my relationship with my wife, because she still gives me shit about it, I said, why don't we try watching them in chronological order?
Yeah.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man, what a mighty good man.
You did right by your wife. I don't care how this story
Such
ends.
a bad idea.
She's
never forgiven me.
I am
Because
sitting
it's a terrible
right
fucking way to watch them.
here. I've just been tolerating this. I'm in 2 Star Wars movies, period.
She didn't like them, Gary?
Well, she didn't like them because it fucks up you already know who Yoda is. It's all messed up. All of the reveals are
If
blown.
you don't watch
already
the
know their brother
prequels,
and
you
sister.
never know who Watto is.
All of the I am your father. All of the good stuff doesn't mean anything because you saw it all already. And machete order and all that bullshit. Watch them in the order that they were made. That's the only way that makes any sense. So I have a lot of, it's my fault. I bring my own personal baggage to the prequels. What I wanted to try to say to you, and again, I'm trying to be nice here, is I feel like, and again, I haven't gone back and watched them recently myself, so I don't know, but I feel like the sentiment, the overriding sentiment in the Star Wars community is that over time, recently, I feel like the prequels are getting reassessed.
Yes.
And people are kind of liking them more than they did when they first came out.
Yeah.
But Watto, you are a human trafficker. So what are you?
Depiction does not equal endorsement. You sound like film Twitter right now, Rose. The world is complicated. It's filled with many Wattos. To deny their existence is to lie to oneself. What is the Senate but 100 Wattos?
That's the most profound political commentary I've heard
Thank you!
in a very long time.
Rose, by the way, this is the Watto cup I'm drinking out of.
Yes.
This was part of the KFC Taco Bell Pizza Hut combination promo campaign for episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And on the back of the cup here, and this was a cup that was sold to children.
Yes.
It says, Watto is a junk dealer who lives on the remote desert planet of Tatooine. Watto loves haggling, pointed, and betting on pod races more than anything. Betting on a pod race is how he won his 2 slaves.
Yeah.
Anakin and Shmi Skywalker from Gardula.
I rest my case.
Yes.
You're
I
a
have nothing
human
to hide.
trafficker.
I'm an open book.
George, we should I want Gary to give away his shirt.
Gary brought
Yeah,
shirts.
it's time for the Gary with a shirt giveaway. This is a new segment on the show.
I don't know how many of these I have, but they've been cluttering up the house, so it's a good opportunity for me to offload them. Some of you may know who Pablo Hidalgo is. He's a member of the Lucasfilm Story
Yes.
Group, and one of the top. Anytime
Good guy.
Anytime I had a question about Star Wars, I would go down the hall and ask him like some deep lore question. He would just know it.
Yeah.
And him and his wife Kristen became good family friends, and myself and my wife Leah, and we would go out sometimes. Sometimes we went to pizza, and I don't know how this happened, but he sketched on the back of a pizza box when we were done what he called a pizza destroyer, which is half slice of pizza and half Star Destroyer.
Oh my gosh.
And Leah liked it so much that she took the design home and put it on a t-shirt and actually made a little Etsy store and sold a bunch of these.
Wow.
But I still have some left over, so I was just going to give them away to people.
Gary, do you have any shirts that are an extra small up here, a 2XL here, and holes for wings in the back?
I mean, I have a triple XL. I could just
There
give
you go.
It only will fit one part of me correctly, but I appreciate the thought.
Let's do it.
I've got a bunch of sizes. Who wants a 2X? There you go. Right
There we go.
What else have we got here? Another 2X. Oops. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you pay a price when you sit further back.
1X.
1X. There we go.
Ooh,
Oh!
nice,
Wow.
Gary. Very
Good
good.
catch.
You got it.
L.
L. Whoa.
I'm doing.
Gary,
I'm
let's see if
actually
we
hitting-
can throw
I'm
over to
hitting
that,
some. I feel like
stage
we've only
left.
gone to the center.
Oh boy.
Triple X.
Triple X.
Yeah.
Is Xander Cage in the house?
State of the Union.
You went the other.
S over this side. Small.
S. Oh, and there you go.
I've got a couple more. S in the center.
S.
Oops, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
We got to pass this back like 9 rows. There's someone back there.
Okay,
who's
who wants
raising-
the last XL? This is the last one.
Wow, he loves the last.
I'm gonna go over there again. Oh, I'm sorry. That goes behind you. There you go.
There
That's
we
it.
go.
T-shirt. T-shirt giveaway complete.
Enjoy your
Thank you,
shirts.
Gary.
Those
Thank
rule.
you, Gary. George, we should probably wrap up the show. It's 0:00 and
Yes.
11 minutes.
I was hoping, though, that I could throw out some pens.
Oh, do you have
Of course I don't have any, George.
notoriously penless?
Oh, wait. I have a giveaway, George. I recently moved and realized I had 2 copies of Chris Gethard's book. Does anyone want one? There we go. Thank you so much for
Noted Star Wars fan Chris Gethard.
Yes.
He loves Lobot.
Yes.
Rose, do you have? Are there any other memories of me that come to mind that would be fitting to close
You
the
know,
show
I'm
out?
so glad you asked, George, because
And George,
I've,
while Rose answers, drink some Dasani.
Yes.
I've always wondered what you thought that day when you drove up to ILM in a limo with one of the big mucky mucks. I think it was Alan Ladd Jr. from 20th Century Fox and Gary Kurtz. And you pulled up into the parking lot and you saw the hot tub filled with some of us. And John Dykstra, who was your head of production, your head of visual effects supervisor, with a refrigerator on a forklift going all the way to the top and then dropping it onto the ground over and over. And we were laughing hysterically as you pulled up, got out of the limo, and then got back in and drove away. What were you thinking?
Great question.
I was thinking, I don't understand refrigerator comedy. And to this day, you know, I honestly, I struggled with it for decades. And I thought about it, and then finally...
I've seen Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
That's
so
when I got
know
it.
exactly
That's when
what
it
you
came
mean,
to
yeah.
me. I thought, I get it. It's funny. A refrigerator dropping from a great height can be a cinematic moment of whimsy and wonder. And you know sometimes you experience something in life and it takes a long time before you process it and figure out how to use it in art. But I remember when I first was fiddling around with the outline for Crystal Skull, and the final moment was I thought we got to lose the hot tub because there was a hot tub in that little nuclear town full of Nazis. I thought it's too much. Let's just.
He could just have easily had, like, you know, how they did it in Lethal Weapon. They jump in the bathtub when the bomb goes off. Like, just jump in the hot tub.
Yeah, Mel Gibson's kind of a Nazi too, I guess. It's a great point.
Gary, do you have any final questions?
Gary, you have any final thoughts about me?
And be honest. Be brutally
So
honest.
many. I, of course, am incredibly grateful for you giving us all of us who have been blessed to be a part of Star Wars. None of it would be real if it weren't for your original
None of it would be
genius.
real. Yeah.
Your moments of inspiration to take. Well, they won't let me make a Flash Gordon movie. I'll just make one anyway.
Yeah, that's
without the name on it. And I also like westerns, and I like Kurosawa, and I like all kinds of weird shit. And I'll
This
match
is my
them up
interior
and see what
monologue you're doing.
happens. And I don't care that everyone in town passed on this script because they had no idea what the hell it was. Why is this guy a big walking carpet? And wait, this guy's a robot, but he's also a wizard? What the, like, it's all
You can
so weird.
find you a man who is both, as the meme says.
And so we're very grateful for you. And the one thing that I salute you for the most, and it kind of, you burned the bridge for everyone that came afterwards, because now none of us can ever do this again. Disney has a phrase that they use internally. It's called keep the writers out of the park. And what that means is that the writers will never see a share of like the merchandise where the real money is. You can't get that. You'll never get it. Cameron and a handful of people in the world can get it. But the reason why no one else does it now is because this is the true genius of George, and this is why he lives on that ranch and has the $4 billion and everything else.
More because the stock.
Look at that. I mean, that was just added on top of what you already had.
No, but I took some of it in stock. It's way more.
Is when you made your deal with 20th Century Fox, who were obviously very nervous about making the movie.
Yeah.
Because who knew what it was going to be?
Not them.
Because even 50 years later, people still have not learned that every major franchise has started with someone taking a risk on an original idea.
Yeah.
And someone took a risk on your wacky original idea, and here's the true insight. It was not the Force. It wasn't, the hero with 1,000 faces. It was none of that. It was when you sat down. It was Whitta.
Took a while, but
It's when you said to Fox, I'll concede to all of these other deal points, but just let me have the merchandise. And Fox said, sure, how much can that be worth?
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. And I suppose this is as good a time as any to announce. Because people count me out time and again.
Oh, no. Oh, no. What is this?
Everybody says, he's just working on his museum, and Disney owns Star Wars, et cetera, et cetera. But come New Year's Day, 2024, I'm here to announce you will see the world premiere of Steamboat Watto. As Steamboat Willie becomes public domain. And once again, the wheel turns. I want to thank... Yes,
Well,
Patrick?
before we wrap up, I want to say after the show, we'll be out. We have some posters that we got made.
We have some exclusive samples.
Can we bring up the one poster on the screen that I think it's in there, Taylor?
One's
we have two
exclusive.
posters. We have a main show poster that we'll be out selling and signing.
That's
and all
been
that
our
stuff.
tour poster for the last year or so. But
No, this is a new one, Watto.
Well, no, I'm saying the main poster.
This guy.
Oh, the two new ones.
We've got this cool new one.
Sure.
It's out there. Then we also have a San Francisco show exclusive with Watto attacking the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
So come out, say hi. We want to say hi to all you guys. We love you.
Yes.
I want to thank you, Rose. Thank you, Gary, so much for coming out to Sketchfest. Thank everyone for coming out. I know it took a year. I'll quote Strange Magic. Everyone deserves to be loved. Be good to each other, and may the Force be with you always.